What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of The Growth Blueprint. In this episode, we're going to be going over menopause tips, and not what menopause is. We've done that in some previous episodes, but we're going to be talking about the practical tips and the process that we follow at Fire Fitness Coaching to help take women through the menopause process, solve the menopause problem, and help you feel good, lose weight, optimize what can be optimized, and overall just enable you to be successful with your health and fitness as you're either going through menopause, you're perimenopausal, or you are postmenopausal. So without further ado, let's jump in. So something that I like to say all the time when explaining this to women is that women have like 3 bodies at least, okay? And those 3 bodies are pre-baby. And so for any women out there that have had a child, you're going to understand this, right? And so you have pre-baby body, you have post-baby body, and then you have your menopause body, you know, and if you've had more than one kid, you know, there might be differences between, you know, I've talked to women that were like, oh, I got the weight off super easy after my first kid, but after my second kid, it was just like, everything was different. And so yes, there, you might feel like you've had more than 3 bodies, but the point is that if you are a woman, you are going to have stages in your life where your body stops responding to the things that it was responding to in the past, and things don't work the way that they used to work, okay? And that's the point that I want to drive home here, is because solving the menopause problem is a process of relearning what works for your new body, just like you've had to relearn what works for your body in earlier stages of your life. You have to relearn how to make things work for your body in the menopause or perimenopausal or postmenopausal stages of your life, okay? And so, again, we're not going to talk about what those changes are, how they occur. We're going to talk about how to solve them, how to tactically start moving forward with your life and your health and your fitness goals. And so we're going to talk about the process that we use. So we're going to dive right into that. So we take a scientific approach to solving the menopause problems, okay? And what that means is we apply something called the scientific method, all right? And for those of you that are not scientists and are not familiar with this, it's a process that we follow where we look at lots of data, okay? And then based on what the data says, we form a hypothesis, which is basically, if we do this, we think that this is going to happen. Okay, and so it's like, maybe we say if we increase protein, we assume that this is going to be the outcome. And so then we attempt to make those alterations and we change a variable and we look at the data and we reassess, did that make a positive impact? Did that not make a positive impact? And then we make another hypothesis. And so we go through this very, very structured, very stepwise approach of assessing variables, making small alterations, seeing what the data tells us. And the data is, you know, data on your body, on your physiology, on your, you know, results and what's happening, and going one thing by one thing to understand how different things are impacting your hormones, impacting your sleep, impacting your energy levels, impacting your exercise, impacting your nutrition, your hunger, like all of these things, okay? And so the first thing that I would urge you to start to understand is, again, you have a new body, okay? And because of that, we need to learn how to take care of that new body the way that it wants to be taken care of, so that we can help it to do what we want it to do, okay? We're not going to accomplish our health and fitness goals in perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause by beating our body into submission. You did not beat your children into submission, right? You need to form a relationship with your children and then nurture that relationship and then try and teach them. And so it's the same thing with our body. And so, yes, this can be kind of tedious, and yes, this can be kind of a pain in the ass, but you can either beat your body into submission, which isn't going to work and you're just going to burn yourself out, or you can start to understand what works and what your body needs so that we can be successful, okay? And so the first thing that we optimize when we're working with perimenopausal, menopausal, or postmenopausal women is our protein intake, okay? So number one thing you can do is track your protein intake, see where you're at. And you need to be at least 120 grams. Unless you're a tiny individual and you weigh less than 120 pounds, you need to be getting 120 grams of protein every single day at least. That's a first perfect, awesome, great goal. 120 grams of protein, bam. Don't do anything else that I'm about to say in this video unless you're eating 120 grams of protein. One thing at a time, okay? Most people fail because they try to do too much too quickly. So first things first, 120 grams of protein every day, 7 days a week, 365. This is your new normal all the time, period. It will never change. It's just, this becomes your new normal. Hard stop, okay? Protein. Second thing that's really important that I would urge you to do, and that we do in our practice, so that we have good data, something I tell all of my clients is I say, look, you're paying me to tell you exactly what to do to solve your problems, okay? Not to take educated guesses. Like, you want me to solve your problem, and to solve your problem, I need data. But if I have data, I can tell you exactly what to do. If I don't have data, I'm taking a guess, and you're not paying me to guess, right? You're paying me to tell you what it is and how it goes, okay? And so I would really encourage you, if you are trying to solve this whole weight loss and menopause and feeling good problem, you need to start tracking your food. You need to start tracking your protein, carbs, fats, and calories, okay? And not because carbs and fats necessarily matter all that much, but we need to know your energy balance variables, okay? We need to know how many calories you're consuming, we need to know how much protein you're getting in, and we need to know what's your body weight doing, okay? So we can understand, okay, if you eat 1,500 calories and 100 grams of protein, your body weight doesn't change, right? So we start to develop this kind of picture of what your normal looks like as numbers, right? You can tell me all day, oh, I eat good, I exercise, but I just don't seem like I can lose weight. It doesn't really matter how hard I try. I might lose a little bit of weight sometimes. We need a clear picture of what's going on. Excuse me. And so we call this clear picture baseline. All right, and baseline is just something I made up. Baseline is where we have consistent exercise, we have consistent nutrition, where protein is optimized, and our body weight is relatively consistent, okay? And that way we can kind of start to group these variables together and get them all in the same place with a really clear picture of, okay, if this one is doing this, and this one's doing this, and this one's doing this, and this one's doing this, all of this stuff together equals this body weight, okay? And then once we have that picture, once we have all the stuff that we know impacts body weight and it's measured and it's accounted for, now we can start running stuff through the scientific method, right? And asking educated questions and forming educated hypotheses based on what we're looking at in the data of the variables that are impacting your weight, okay? And then we can start to make some of these changes, and we can say, like, okay, let's turn this dial, let's turn that dial, let's move this up and down, let's make these changes, and let's look what happens. Okay, track your food. Track your food. Exercise. The next thing, if you're not exercising, you need to be exercising. If you are exercising and it's not resistance training, you need to be resistance training. If you are resistance training and you're doing it 3 to 4 times a week, perfect. If it's less than 3 to 4, get it to 3 to 4. If it's more than 3 to 4, drop it down to 3 to 4. Okay, 3 to 4 times a week. You can include some cardio if you would like. I encourage cardio. It's good for our heart and our lungs. It's not necessary to solve your menopause problems. If you enjoy it, that's great, but you need to be resistance training, okay? 3 to 4 days a week, period. We need to be building muscle. As a menopausal woman, your estrogen is declining. Estrogen keeps your bones healthy. If we're not exercising, our bones are going to get weak, you're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to break your hip, you're going to be 63, you're going to get surgery, you're never going to recover, and you're going to die early. Resistance train, 3 to 4 days a week, period. This is part of baseline, right? You're not doing anything. You don't do anything until baseline is accounted for and it's optimized, okay? So you have to start tracking your nutrition. You have to start resistance training if you're not resistance training already. You need to get 120 grams of protein daily, period, all the time. You need to start weighing yourself consistently at least 3 times a week. And a little side note on the weight thing, I make my clients weigh themselves at least 3 times a week, if not every single day. And the reason that we do that is I use the same analogy that I just told you, is you're paying me to tell you exactly what to do and exactly how and exactly why. And I need good data to be able to do that. if you're not weighing yourself consistently, you as a woman, if you're a woman listening to this, you know body weight fluctuates. You feel bloated at certain periods during the month. You know how this works. You understand that weight fluctuates, right? And so if I'm deciding how many calories you're supposed to eat and what this week's supposed to look like off of one singular data point that maybe was on the end of your period and you were 3 pounds heavier, I'm not going to make a very good guess as to what we should be doing based on a single data point that happened to be at the end of your period. I'm not going to do a good job, right? And so weighing yourself consistently so that we can see, okay, is this a random fluctuation? And the only way to see that is to get more data points, okay? So again, baseline, consistent exercise, resistance training 3 to 4 days a week, 120 grams of protein, period. Some of you are going to be like, that's insane, that's crazy, that's so much protein. Yes, it is. I know. I get it. It's part of the reason that you don't feel good is because you're not getting enough protein in. I guarantee it. Consistently weighing yourself so you can see how that looks. And I totally lost what all the stuff was. Consistent exercise, consistent nutrition, 120 grams of protein, resistance training, consistent body weight, okay? Again, once we have those variables all grouped together, we can actually do something, okay? And so the next thing that we do is we enter something called the Matador. Now, the Matador is not something I came up with. It's something that I found in clinical research, which is really cool. It stands for Minimizing Adaptive Thermogenesis and Delaying Obesity Resistance. That's what Matador stands for, it's an acronym, okay? And so basically, the way that it works is once we have a good baseline established that we can feel like we're consistent with, that's helping us feel good, that makes us feel good. You know, we feel good, our energy levels are awesome, we're enjoying our exercise, we like the foods that we're consuming, we could see ourselves doing it for the next 15 years, okay? Then we enter something that's going to be a periodic period of restriction so that we can burn fat, so that we can lose weight, but we don't need to do it for forever because it was never about being consistent. We built baselines so that it can be consistent. We focused on the habits that are going to be your forever habits so that we can set ourselves up to maintain after we've lost our weight. And so what the Matador is it's where we cycle between baseline, where everything is keeping our body weight stable, and we're going to drop our calories for 2 weeks at a time, 2 to 3 weeks at a time. You know, we're going to drop our calories, we're going to burn fat for that period of time, and then we're going to return to baseline. And we're going to let our body rest. We're going to let our body chill, because the process of burning fat is something called a catabolic process, which is a breaking down process, and our body does not like to do this. Our body does not like to lose weight. It tries to fight it. As far as all of the little cells in our body are concerned, looking out at their world, all they see is a drop in energy availability, right, in our bloodstream, and nutrient availability. And so all the cells in our body go, holy crap, we're starving. And everything freaks out, okay? And your thyroid hormone is going to change, your metabolism is going to change, the amount of spontaneous movement that happens throughout the day is going to change. All things are going to change in an attempt to decrease the amount of calories that you're burning every day so that you can get out of a calorie deficit. That's called metabolic adaptation. Now, the purpose of a couple weeks down, another week in baseline, right, is to let our foot up off the gas and let our body take a breather so it can go, whew, okay, we're all right. We're not actually starving. We're fine. It's cool. We're great. And it's going to prevent us from the slow decline of our metabolism that leads to plateaus and getting stuck at a weight after you lose your first 10 pounds, right? If you're listening to this video, you've done this and you've lost 10 pounds, gotten stuck, been like, what the hell am I doing? And then you quit, right? All you got to do, take a week off, eat more food, return to baseline, right? The reason we need to do baseline stuff and we need to track stuff is so that we actually know what we need to do. Instead of just choosing to arbitrarily decide on some crazy diet and diet really hard and lose a bunch of weight and then get stuck and then not know what to do, right? We've set ourselves up anticipating the fact that we're going to get stuck, because we will, right? But we set ourselves up in such a way so that when we do get stuck, we can just pop our calories up, let our body recover, and then return back down to cutting our calories, burning the fat, and moving closer to our goal, okay? And then what happens is once we actually get to our goal, right, all we have to do is return to baseline and monitor stuff. right? And at this point, we've gotten pretty good at baseline activities, which is awesome. And so all we have to do is return to baseline, look at our variables, say, is what we're doing keeping body weight stable? The answer is yes or no, right? If it says no, it's trending up, then we mess with our variables a little bit, adjust stuff so that it keeps things stable, and now you know how to maintain where you have been. Voila. And that is the process that you can go through in my free school group, which is linked in the description of this episode, okay? So if you don't know if you can do all the stuff that I talked about, there's video tutorials walking you through exactly how to do that in this free community that I have. It's packed full of a whole bunch of amazing women in there that are working hard on their health and fitness goals as well. I'm in there, I have office hours, so you can get the support that you need, okay? But this is the process that we use to solve the menopause problem for our clients, okay? And so that we can go through a process to learn what your new body needs to be successful, to lose the weight, to feel good, to have the energy, and the success that you want to have with your health and fitness, okay? That's the process that we use. That way you can learn it, that way I can learn it, so I can teach it to you, and that way you exit going through this program and get done understanding what you need to do to be successful. So, short episode today. As always, your time is your most valuable resource, and so if you spent that with us today, I greatly appreciate it, because I just want to make sure that I make it worth your time to tune in and listen to these episodes. So if I did make it worth your time, I would love it if you would rate the show. That's what grows this thing. I just want to get more of the good news and good information out to more people. Rate the show, share it with somebody that could use it, and I will see y'all in the next one.